Welcome to another proven sales letter breakdown video. My name is Csaba, and for 100 days I'm breaking down proven sales letters from the best copywriters of all time. And today I got a pretty cool treat for you. It's a promo written by Evaldo Albuquerque, who is considered to be one of the top paid copywriters at the moment. He earns several $1 million a year just for writing promotional packages like these. And this one was written by him a few years ago for James Altucher. So some people might be familiar with James Altucher. He's this financial guru who also has a cool podcast called the James Altucher podcast or show or something like that. But I usually listen to that podcast myself, and it has a lot of interesting discussions on money, finance, crypto, Bitcoin, life, investments, philosophy, stuff like that. So this one was written sometime in 2019, and it talks about it sells the investment newsletter of James Altucher. As with all other financial promos do, they always sell a paid newsletter, but instead of talking about the newsletter itself, they always have a nice big idea. They have an attention-grabbing headline and an emotionally invested hook, and then they have a nice little story, and then they build up desire for certain free bonuses that people get when they purchase the yearly subscription. So everything is fully engineered so that the offer itself is irresistible, and the promo itself is interesting, because as Gary Bencivenga said, people don't want to read your ad. Sometimes they want to read stuff that's interesting to them, and sometimes that's an ad. So that's also the reason why, this one's 43 pages long, and I promise we're gonna get through this whole thing in a single video. But the reason why it's so long is because it has a lot of useful content. It has a lot of belief shifting to do, which is very important in any conversion context. The only way to really sell people is to shift their pre-existing beliefs that are keeping them in their imperfect situation, and then act as the guiding force that basically shows them the way to achieve their ideal future situation. And that's what a good sales letter does. Is just like a salesman in real life, but it's multiplied. Okay, so good copywriting is salesmanship multiplied. So before we jump into this promo itself, two things. First, if you're new to the channel, then definitely make sure to subscribe and also hit the little notification icon, because I'm releasing these videos daily, and that way you'll be the first to know when I release a new one. Also, the second thing, if you're enjoying these videos, then the normal thing to do is to like them, right? But also feel free to share it with others, because I've gotten so many nice comments from people like you in how much they actually enjoy these video breakdowns. And there really is nothing like this on YouTube, a big ass video library of proven sales letter breakdowns that you can watch for free. Most people charge thousands of dollars for only a fraction of this type of copywriting education. So my mission is to spread this as far as and wide as possible, to reach as many people who are interested in direct response marketing as possible. And I need your help for this. And the only way you can help is to make some social signals on the video. So like it, comment under it, share it with others, and also just try to, share with a friend or a coworker or someone who's interested in this, okay? I really, really appreciate it. So with that being said, let's just jump into it. And the first thing we can see, we have a pre-head, we have a headline, we have a subhead. So pretty classic stuff, but I like how everything's done here. So for the first time ever, this is the pre-head, and this really communicates that there's a new opportunity here. Then the headline is Eccentric Millionaire reveals his secret 1.8 million cryptocurrency script. So his secret script basically assumes that this is something that it's easy to do. Basically anybody can do it, and also it holds the key to your desire as a reader, because you want to make money with this, right? And back in 2019, cryptocurrencies were still somewhat new. Even to this day, like, most people haven't invested in Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, but in 2019 it had its ups and downs, but it was way more of a niche thing, okay? And it was much more on people's minds like this. Nowadays it's still on people's minds, but in a different way. And then we have a subhead which says, if you follow my script below, you could turn $100 into a retirement fortune in the next 12 months while minimizing your risk. James Altucher, Crypto Millionaire. So I like the subhead because it uses the if-then headline formula, which is a go-to headline formula whenever you don't really have a better idea. So if you do this, then you can expect the benefit. And the big benefit here is that you can turn $100 into a retirement fortune, okay, in the next 12 months. So it's also like relatively quick compared to how fortunes are made, while minimizing your risk. So this is an objection handling element. And then we also have a little thing that says, warning, this opportunity disappears on January 31st, 2019 at 4 p.m. So it's very specific, okay? And to be honest, like, I don't really know of anything that happened at that time that would warrant this type of urgency, but you gotta give people some sort of deadline, because otherwise they are just do the default thing, which is to do nothing. But I think this headline does a great job, as all of these winning promotions, obviously, in keeping people's attention. And I'm just gonna read the lead to you, because the lead is very important in any sales argument. It's the most important after a headline. And sometimes if you change the lead, you can double, triple, quadruple the effectiveness of your entire sales letter, even if everything else remains the same. Just changing the lead itself is enough to like create a measurable difference in response. And this lead is pretty long, actually. So usually a lead is like a few hundred words long, but this is pretty long. It lasts until this part. So until page 7, so we have like 7 pages of lead copy. But as you can see, you know, all the lines are very short. It's very easy to read. It's very easy to flow. Your attention can flow very easily through this text. And this is intentional because, you know, that's what people like. You don't want to make people work for your copy, because they won't. Even if they're PhDs, they're just not going to put in the work, okay? So let's see. I'm just going to read it to you, and then stop eventually to explain what's happening here. But just know that this is a secret lead. Actually, it's kind of a hybrid between a secret lead and a proclamation lead. So it's kind of a hybrid. If you're not really familiar with these lead types, I definitely recommend you check out my previous videos, link in the description below to the entire playlist. But there's a great book called Great Leads from Michael Masterson, in which he talked about 6 major lead types that you can use in your copy, depending on how warmed up your ideal customer is to your idea, and how much explanation your product has to have in order to get people's attention, and also how skeptic or jaded the market is regarding products like yourself. So in this case, this is a target audience that's seen it all, and you know, they're skeptical, especially of crypto, of Bitcoin, and you gotta shift a lot of their pre-existing beliefs and frustrations, and their guards are up, you know. And you got to shift that if you want to turn them into customers. Because if you just say, hey, here's my product, buy it, they're just not going to care, or they're just going to have a myriad of objections on why they don't want that, okay? So the whole aim of the sales letter is to just unpack all that stuff and reconstruct the internal reality of this target audience. So let's see what's happening here. So, dear reader, with dozens of digital currencies exploding as high as a lot of numbers, and even a lot of numbers, notice how specific they are. Historians will call today's cryptocurrency markets the biggest boom ever. And if you're missing out, you could be cheating yourself out of the only chance you'll ever have to turn a single $100 bill into a retirement fortune in a matter of months. And it couldn't be easier. Even if you know nothing about cryptocurrencies, all you have to do is follow my simple 3-step script you see below. And then we see a little image here. So what's happening here? Well, first of all, you can notice how easy to read it is. It flows very, very well, and each sentence only has a single idea. This is crucial, especially in modern day copywriting, because people's attention spans are shorter, and that doesn't mean they aren't reading long copy. Like, think about this. This one is 43 pages long, so they do read long copy, but you really gotta make it engaging, exciting for them, and every single paragraph actually has to win a little mini fight so that the customer, the reader, actually gets to the next sentence and the next sentence and the next sentence. This is really crucial. So, you know, in the beginning, we restate the new opportunity with specifics. We also mentioned that, you know, if you don't really take advantage of this opportunity, you basically look like a fool, which people don't want. We also tease how this is kind of like I wouldn't say the get rich quick scheme, because it's not, but it still gives a measurable result. It's like, hey, you can make a fortune in 12 months, which is, or like in a matter of months, which is kind of achievable for most people, let's say, or they're willing to believe it at least. Plus, it's easy. Plus, it works even if you don't know anything about cryptocurrencies. So this is like an objection handling element here. And all you have to do is follow my simple 3-step script you see below. And then we see an image that builds curiosity. Like, oh, what can this be? 1, 2, 3. What are the steps? Well, that's why it's a secret lead, because the secret isn't really given away so easily. So it's already pretty exciting. Let's see what happens next. Because every single boom throughout history has followed this script. The stock market boom in the roaring 20s, the tech boom in the 1990s, the housing boom in the 2000s. And now the booming cryptocurrency market is following this exact same 3-step script. So this element here, it gives context to the whole promise, everything, and it also gives kind of proof, because it highlights how this has a historic element to it. Okay, so this has happened before. Then we continue. Using this roadmap, I already made an investment that returned a total profit of 1.8 million from one single cryptocurrency trade. And before you guess, it was not Bitcoin, the granddaddy of all cryptocurrencies. So we have a proof element, and we immediately follow it up with an objection handling element, because at this point, some people might be thinking, yeah, I know, you probably bought Bitcoin, boo-hoo, you're a lucky one. But no, it's not Bitcoin. And at this point, people are like, what? I thought that, you know, most people got rich in crypto from Bitcoin. Like, what is happening here? So then we have a tease of the unique mechanism of the problem. So why Bitcoin isn't necessarily good enough for you in most cases. So it goes like this. You see, Bitcoin gained a lot of publicity after it turned many regular folks into millionaires. As The Economist magazine says, anyone clever or lucky enough to have bought $1,000 of Bitcoins in July 2010, when the price stood at just 5 cents, would now have a stash worth $46 million. The thing is, the fast money in Bitcoin has already been made. So this teases, because at this point, again, people are thinking, okay, so I'll just buy Bitcoin then, right? If you made so much money with it. Well, nuh-uh, it's not so easy. You need to invest in different things. And then it goes like this. It was easy to make a quick fortune when Bitcoin was trading for pennies. But now that the digital currency is trading around 4,000, it will be harder for you to make millions from Bitcoin going forward. But if you missed the Bitcoin boom, don't worry. Because this year, hundreds of similar cryptocurrencies has popped up. And unlike the expensive Bitcoin, many of these lesser known digital currencies are trading for pennies. So this is kind of like the new opportunity, right? That you can buy cryptocurrencies that are presumably going to be like Bitcoin, but you can buy them for pennies. This is the new opportunity, which is different. Although some things didn't really age that well. So unlike the expensive Bitcoin when it was 4,000, man, if you could buy Bitcoin today for 40,000, you would be lucky, but it's at like 60,000 at the moment. So yeah, nobody really predicted how high Bitcoin will go, and who knows, it might drop again. But I mean, the reasoning here is legit. It's just that this just shows you that nobody can predict the future. Okay, nobody. So then let's continue with the lead. We follow it up with a proof element, because at this point, this is a big claim, and we've learned before in previous videos, If you're not familiar with this concept, go check out the link below to the whole playlist. But we've talked about this before, that you got to back up your claims and promises with proof. So after this little subhead, we have something like that says, in fact, I recently bought another cryptocurrency for just 52 cents, and it's already up 800% in just 3 weeks. Many other cryptos are trading for pocket change. That means you could get started with a single $100 bill, and if you follow my proven 3-step script, you could cash out with a retirement fortune just a few months from now, just like what happened with early Bitcoin investors. So, again, it has a little proof element, but it also reiterates this new opportunity. And notice how Evaldo Albuquerque, the copywriter who wrote this, who's actually Brazilian, and he's one of the highest paid copywriters at the moment, and maybe of all time. So this gives people a lot of hope that they could be super high earning copywriters, even if they're not native English. Okay, so that's cool to know. Just a side note, but the thing I wanted to say is that notice how he keeps on talking about this $100 bill. And the reason for that, I think, is because it's much easier for people to imagine investing a $100 bill, like pulling it out from their pockets and investing it into something, than just saying some abstract number like invest $200 a month or something like that. Because it's easy to quantify, like one bill, it's basically one single bill, and you can make a retirement fortune of it. Wow, who wouldn't want that, right? So that's why it's a great way to drive home this claim that we are making here. So then we continue. I know this is a huge claim, but this kind of get-rich-quick opportunity is already happening. Look what happened with Verge, a new cryptocurrency that improved upon Bitcoin's privacy technology. Most people have never heard of it, as most of the target audience probably, but had you invested a single $100 bill earlier this year, you could have cashed out with $57,236 in little more than 2 months. And then, so this is like a historic example once again, which adds a little bit of proof to it. And we also have a nice graphic, a really nice graphic, which uses this green color of money, of greed, showing you that a single $100 bill, again, it's contextualized, people can imagine it, it's very easy to quantify this, and then boom, increase to this big number here. And as we go through the sales letter, just notice how these types of hypothetical claims are very common in financial promos. So one of the key things that you have to use in financial promos is that you have to highlight a bunch of examples where somebody invested something and they came away with like a huge return. Okay, it's very important because it will trigger something, a very powerful feeling in our target audience, the feeling of, oh shit, I missed out. I knew I should have invested in it when others like James Altucher told me to, but I didn't because I was afraid, and look at what I missed out. So it's important to agitate this little pain, because this is what motivates them to actually say, okay, this time's different, this time's I'm not going to chicken out of it. So we're going to see a lot of other examples. And as you can see, there's one more example. Did you buy the same type of structure with a lot of specifics? Single $100 bill increased by $30,528. And we have a lot of what if situations like this that triggers the greed glands, according to Gary Halbert. So that's why, we have a bunch of like sentences that say you could have turned a $2,000 investment into a $612,578 retirement fortune. Notice how super specific it is. And the reason for that is that, it gives more credibility to it. Like, who would make up this number, right? It must have been measured. And it probably was. Like, this comes from some sort of research, from a case study, but it's more credible. So then at this point, this whole part serves as proof plus past examples so that people actually start believing this thing. So then we say, amazing, right? This is a little advanced tip. This is probably a micro commitment. So at this point, as people are reading this and they're like, oh, wow, I cannot believe it. Like, how much money people made with this. And then And then the copywriter asks, amazing, right? And then the reader internally answers, oh yeah, it is amazing. So you got a little bit of a little yes from them, which increases the likelihood of them saying yes later on when we pitch the product. So this is called micro commitment, and good salespeople use it all the time. So then we have another example, and we have a lot of other future pacing elements. So invest little more, say $2,000, and you'd be looking at an incredible payout of more than 1.3 million. Imagine you, a certified millionaire in a matter of months from one single trade. Do you see now why historians will call this the biggest financial boom ever? Wow, it's powerful. And then we follow it up with a big prediction. And that's why I said this lead is kind of a hybrid between a secret lead and a prediction lead, because it says, and here's the thing, as incredible as these gains are, that's just a small taste of what's coming in the next 12 months. How do I know that? Because so far cryptocurrencies are following a script that has been proven over and over again throughout every single financial boom in history. And according to this script, we're on the verge of a massive buying frenzy, starting with a single event on January 31st. So very specific thing, and it makes a big prediction. But that's not all. The lead is still not over, because yes, we're building emotional rapport with people. We're building the desire for it, but a good lead also has some curiosity elements. It also has some urgency elements. It qualifies people a little bit, disqualifies other people. So it sets up the entire stage for the rest of the sales letter. So then Evaldo continues. Even though one of my investments already returned 1.8 million from a single cryptocurrency trade, I expect to make much more in the coming months, especially after January 31st. That's when a single event is set to send cryptocurrencies into an epic parabolic move. I'll give you more details in just a moment. This is an open loop element, which again, the purpose for this is to keep the attention of people. Because if we were to give away the secret now, they'll be like, okay, now I discovered this, I'll think about it. And then that means they won't buy. So instead, we give them an open loop that, you're going to find out the answer later on, but first, something interesting. So it goes like this. I'll give you more details in the moment, but what you need to know right now is that I'm not just making some sort of far-fetched guess. This is all part of my 3-step script I've been telling you about. And while most people don't know how to use this simple roadmap, every single boom in history has followed this script with no exception. So this sounds serious. And again, we have this nice picture that has a lot of mystery to it. Like, what's one? Why is there a ... after one and after two and after three? And what causes this little dip? And what causes this massive rise? Like, what's up with that? I have to find out. So the lead is still not over. It says, simply put, if you follow this script, you'll have a chance to turn $100 into a retirement fortune in the coming months, all while minimizing your risk. That's the good news. So this is the upside. And then we have the downside, which is basically urgency. Now, here's the bad news. Like every single boom in history, this cryptocurrency bonanza won't last forever. In fact, it could be all over by next week, next year. So notice the specific urgency, and it says it could be. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. It's very powerful if you have this type of uncertainty in your urgency. And when it's over, you'll never see a get-rich-quick opportunity like this again. Not in your lifetime. So this is a little dramatized a little bit, because obviously there's going to be get-rich-quick opportunities in the future, but it's needed to jolt people to, really pay attention to this thing. What does this mean for you? It means today you have a very small window of opportunity to act, one that's closing with each passing day. So even more urgency to act now. In fact, every day you wait, someone else is growing rich from cryptocurrencies. And I love this subhead. It's so powerful because it basically communicates that, hey, it's your choice, but if you're going to be a schmuck about this, then a smarter guy is going to take your place and is going to take your money. So screw them, okay? Instead, be faster and smarter than the other guy, because why should others make the money, right? You should make the money because you deserve it. That's what this is communicating, and I think it riles up people a lot. Very cool. Just take a look at the recent gains from some of these digital currencies. And then we have a big proof element with a little table of returns and gains in the last 24 hours. Obviously, it's biased because I'm sure that you could find 50 of these as well, which are seriously in the negative. So this is kind of biased, but it pre-validates people's beliefs a little bit, and it just shows them the opportunity. So then we have something that adds even more impact to the proof element. It says, these are not annual gains. These are not monthly gains. These are gains that happen in a 24-hour period. Some of these cryptocurrencies are jumping 28, 49, and even 90% in a single day. Look at your retirement statement right now. I have no idea what you're doing with your money, but I guarantee you're not making these types of daily gains. These gains are unheard of. It's why historians will call this the biggest boom ever. And if you miss it, I guarantee you'll regret it for the rest of your life. That's why I'm writing this urgent message, to show you how to use my proven 3-step script, the same script I've helped my team of venture capitalists pocket 1.8 million in a matter of months. So what's happening here? I love this sentence. Look at the retirement statement right now. It makes people a bit more invested into consuming this as a content piece, okay? Consuming the sales letter, because at this point people will start thinking about, okay, so yeah, how is my retirement statement? And maybe they're gonna check it and they're gonna be like, wow, I still need like $1 million more to retire. Shit, that's not good. I should make something here. Like, what can I do? Well, this crypto thing definitely sounds interesting, so I'm gonna read a little bit more to see what's up with that. So that's what you want as a copywriter. And this other part, what a nice way to end the lead, and this is the end of the lead, as I said. Do you feel, if you're still watching this, do you feel how powerful this is? How you want to find out, even if you're a copywriter, you want to find out, like, what is this whole thing about? What are the 3 steps that James Altucher is mentioning here? Actually, Evaldo Albuquerque, but James Altucher is the guru who is the face of the brand. So basically, it's in the voice of James Altucher. And it's really similar to James Altucher's voice. As I said, I'm listening to his podcast usually, and Evaldo did a great job in mimicking the voice of James Altucher. And if you want to be a copywriter, it's extremely important for you to model the voice of the person who you're writing for, because this creates consistency in their branding. It's very important, voice. And pro tip for newer copywriters, one of the big objections that clients have when they want to hire a copywriter is that they're afraid that they're going to mess up their voice. Okay, so it's very important for you as a copywriter to learn how to write in the client's voice. And also, if you're a business owner, it's very important to hire a copywriter who can write in your voice. All right, so from this point, I'm not going to read the entire thing. We're just gonna like jump through major elements of the copy, and then you can read it yourself. I definitely recommend it because it's an amazing sales letter. Evaldo is definitely a GOAT, like the greatest of all time copywriter. But if you've watched some of my previous videos, you're going to find a lot of familiar elements, because at the end of the day, most sales arguments follow roughly a same type of structure, okay? And the same thing is happening here as well. So after the lead, we have a little section that builds up authority for our guru. So in this case, it's James Altucher, and we have a lot of information like an authority buildup on. He has a podcast, he's been featured here and there, and he has all this track record, and he also is a geek, so he knows a bunch of stuff about the IT background of Bitcoin. And we have some objection handling elements, like, hey, like, this isn't just a marketing stunt. I know this stuff because I used to be a geek. And then as James Altucher's person, like he always likes to talk about his failures, okay? He's really not ashamed to share these things, and I think that it's his vulnerability that makes him such a likable character, plus his big hair. But we also have a few elements in his like authority build-up section that share some potentially embarrassing information about him, because the copy goes like this. He insinuated I really didn't care about cryptocurrencies and was just pulling a marketing stunt. You can see my shocking response in the 30-second clip below. So this serves two purposes. First of all, we get to know James Altucher a bit better, and we actually get to hear an audio recording from him. So we actually get to know him on a deeper level, let's say, as if he was talking to us. But secondly, it also acts as another micro commitment for people, because they're going to click the button. It's not visible here, but they're going to click the button, which means that they clicked. So we are training them preemptively so that they click the subscribe now button at the end of this promotion, okay? It's an advanced thing, but it's next level, but it's effective. So after that, we talk a little bit about, the sales letter talks a little bit about how other people in the media, they're ignorant, and it's not your fault as the reader if you've been left out of this whole Bitcoin profit thing because you've been misled, people lied to you, or like you've been kept in the dark. This is a typical type of thing that Evaldo does. And in fact, there's a great book that he has, the 16-word sales letter. I definitely recommend you check it out because it's one of the best books that I've read on sales letters ever. And it's like 50 pages long. You can buy it off Amazon. But it's amazing, and in it Evaldo goes through 10 specific questions that you should answer actually to get people to convert. And one of these questions is like, why haven't I achieved this yet, or a version of it. So it's very important to showcase the us versus them dichotomy between you, the reader, and the someone, a scapegoat, an enemy. So after this, it's not your fault element here. We have a little bit of greed once again, like, hey, how much money some people made, and all these promises are usually followed by contextualization elements and then proof elements. We've seen this before, again, in every single financial promo, even in health promos. But like, you make a promise or a claim, you contextualize it by saying that that means that 10 grand could turn into $381,000 of retirement fortune. So it just gives people a way to better imagine this whole thing. And then eventually this has to be followed up with proof elements in most cases, because that's what people believe. So if you have these promise, contextualization, and proof little elements, you can just replicate these many times, and that's what makes up the bulk of the sales letter actually. So then another authority build-up section is, let me show you one more example where I was actually mocked on live TV. So again, he's not ashamed to showcase his vulnerabilities, and by people clicking this, once again, we're training them to click, while also building rapport with James Altucher. And then we have a big proof element, like how Altucher called Facebook $100 billion company in 2007. So we just build up the case that James Altucher is good at predicting stuff. So then we follow it up with some reason why copy. Again, very important, because you want to give people a logical reason why this whole thing exists, why they should care about this, why they should read it. And at first, we have a little us versus them, how the mainstream media is misleading people. Then we have the others want to scam you type of element, which flows naturally from the mainstream media trying to like rip you off. And then why James Altucher himself is doing this. So Evaldo included a few lines here that say, that's why I've made it my mission to reveal the truth about making money in this booming market. It's time for me to set the record straight. So he isn't talking about these things because like he doesn't have anything else to do, but it's his mission. So then we have a proof element, like, hey, look at all these cryptos and how they've grown. More case studies which act as proof. Then sometimes we get a repetition of the prediction itself. Remember the prediction, because on January 31st, there's a single event taking place at precisely 4 p.m. and it could trigger a mad rush into cryptocurrencies. So we have a proof element, then we have the prediction, and then we have something that says basically your salvation is only achievable through me. Okay, so I did the work for you. I want to help you. Okay, so that's why I'd like to send you this free this cryptocurrency package free of charge. So this is the first time where we get a glimpse at not the product itself, but the free bonuses that people get when they subscribe to the paid newsletter. And this type of structure is used in every single financial promo or even health promo. Okay, so first of all, this gives people reciprocity. So it's like, hey, I'm getting something from him just like that. Wow. And then they're going to be more likely to buy later on. But also it gets more attention. It gets people to consume more of the sales letter because they want to find out, like, what are they getting for free? What's included, right? And that's why that's the more they consume the sales letter, the more likely they are to buy something. So this thing, by the way, it's super valuable. We have like this mock-up here, and Evaldo even says this is not available on Amazon or any other site anywhere else, so better pay attention. It's one of a kind, it's very valuable, but you're gonna get it for free. And we open up a loop by saying, I'll show you how to claim it in just a moment. First, let me show you how this cryptocurrency script works. Getting rich from cryptocurrencies could be as easy as 1, 2, 3. So again, we tease. A lot of times we tease because if we give people the solution immediately, then they're going to close the page and that's it. We need more time to basically indoctrinate them, to convert them into new buyers. And in order for that to happen, you have to open these loops and open new elements, because otherwise if you close the loop, they will feel like, yeah, there's no more reason for me to read this. But if you open the loop, they're gonna be like, okay, I should just read a little bit more so that I can find out actually what this is. It's just like how good series or movies operate. So at this point, we just got a tease of the free thing here, just to build some desire. And curiosity as well. But from here on out, we start talking about the unique mechanism of the solution. So we've seen how the unique mechanism of the problem was that it's not enough anymore if you just buy into Bitcoin, because it's already like all the smart money has already invested in it, and now only like schmucks are investing in it. But now you have the same opportunity for lesser known cryptocurrencies as well. So we get introduced to a concept of 3 stages of any type of big boom or something like that. Okay, the 3 stages. The first, only enthusiasts are investing in anything. Then the so-called smart money, so smart investors are getting in the action. And then finally, once everybody starts talking about Bitcoin or something, then smaller time investors also start investing in it. But at that point, most of the profits have been made by the smart investors. Okay, so this is actually very valuable and educative. Okay, so it just goes back to how your sales page itself should be valuable and should give people value on its own. Okay, so it's educative, it acts as reason why copy. So basically the bulk of the sales letter is made up of historic proofs, historic examples which act as proof elements on why this 3-step script is always happening. And then the big reveal will be that right now we are in the second one or the first one, I don't know exactly, but we're definitely not in the third one. So if you want to make a lot of money, and as you can see in the third one everything goes up, when at the end eventually crashes a little bit, you got to invest in the first or the second half of this. So we have historic examples with proof elements. We have even more relevant examples, how the Roaring 20s, it was the same thing. The housing boom was the same thing. The Japanese stock market boom was the same thing. The South Sea Company, going back to the 1600s, was the same thing. The tulip boom was the same thing. Never mind that it crashed horrendously, but at some point, you know, a single piece of tulip was worth like, I don't know, $100,000 or something like that. It was crazy, like in today's money. So then we gave all these elements. Then we give a little recap so that, you know, people actually understand exactly what's happening here. And then we mentioned the new opportunity again. I'm telling you all this because this script is playing out again right now in the booming cryptocurrency market. So basically, Evaldo Albuquerque just created a parallel between historic examples of these booms, tying it back to the cryptocurrency market. And you know, he makes a new opportunity, which is a claim, so we immediately back it up with proof. We can see like a testimonial type of thing and all sorts of mini like case studies. We have more reason why copy and content that explains that the smart money is going all in, you know. So if you want to be smart, you should get in now. And then we have some more proof elements. And to prove my point, here's an inside scoop. So we have even more proof elements, but different type of proof elements tied to reason why copy again, because this part here basically explains why James Altucher should know this stuff, because he is a connected guy. He has access to the best investors of all time, and he's very, very you know, deep in the trenches of these things. So you should definitely listen to him because he knows what he's talking about. And you know, most people, everyone's dreaming of having a friend at their side who is an insider in something and that can really help them predict something. And that's what this sales letter is actually doing. With all this money flowing in, it's no wonder many cryptocurrencies are exploding this year. So at this point, we shift a little bit more into greed. We paint the dream, paint the dream again by saying things like, hey, if you invested in this little known cryptocurrency called NEM, then you could increase your $100 bill to almost $300,000. So this is almost unbelievable for people. But the reason for this is that you just want to tie their imagination to an extremely positive event. And even if like they just make a few $100 or a few $1,000 off of this, it's still worth it. It's still a great investment because this newsletter costs like $39 for a year or something. So it's crazy. Like even if they make $50, their return on investment on this is already like 20%, which is pretty good, right? But by tying everything to like $300,000, they're like, man, if I could just make 1/10 of it, I'd be so happy. So that's what's happening here. It's painting the dream with more numbers, more tables and everything. Then we go into like some objection handling elements here. Then, you know, more reason why copy. It's a logical opportunity. So that's exactly what's set to happen on January 31st. You see, with cryptocurrencies minting new millionaires every day, this epic boom is starting to grab some headlines. Take a look. So, you know, this is the time when apparently the masses will start investing in cryptocurrencies themselves, and it will trigger like a huge, you know, upward trend. Just like what happened with GameStop, for example. You know, a lot of people got, well, maybe not the best example, GameStop, but you know, most fads or most things that become fashionable increase their value after it just because they became fashionable and more people are interested in it. So we have more future pacing elements here, and actually all these things, they're true. Like James Altucher mentions that Amazon will accept Bitcoin at some point, which might happen. Like, look at Tesla. They started accepting Bitcoin for their Teslas even. They accepted taking payments in Bitcoin. And then basically, you know, you have no choice. This will be the tipping point that will create generational wealth unlike you've ever seen before. And it's kind of true, right? He was right. We have some more proof because this is a big claim. So we have proof to back it up with future pacing. And at this point, some people will feel like, okay, so then I'll just have to like buy any type of crypto I can find, right? Well, not so simple. We don't want people to start going on Google and researching this on their own, okay? We want them to buy our stuff. So that's why we have an element here that says, but do not rush to buy every cryptocurrency out there, okay? So there's a 95% chance you'll lose all your money. And we are setting up another problem here. And the solution for this new problem is that, buy my newsletter and you get all these bonuses for free, which will help you because I want to help you avoid betting on the right type of cryptocurrencies, which is obviously like nobody can predict the future exactly, but you still have a way better chance of winning if you have me as James Altucher on your side. So at this point, cryptocurrencies are here to stay. This just acts as an objection handling element. And then finally, we get an insider scoop into what people get when they subscribe. But we still don't have the product mentioned yet. We just start building up value for the free special reports. So everything you need to know inside this free package. So you get, the book, Cryptocurrencies 101. We have a brief overview plus fascinations. Now, if you're not familiar with fascinations, go check out some of my previous videos, especially people like Mel Martin, Eugene Schwartz, Clayton Makepeace, Paris Lampropoulos. They're great at fascinations. But these things just build desire and curiosity in people. We have even more fascinations, some proof, because these are also like kind of claims. So we have a proof that backs it up. Then we have bonus number 2, a video masterclass on cryptocurrencies, which is step-by-step. We get a very, very high-level overview of what's included, but we notice how we don't start going into very specific things like features, like how many pages or what you really get. Instead, you just get like a high-level overview because people don't care about the features ultimately. They just want the end result, okay? They just want the dream. So that's the reason why, even after just a few lines, we get an open loop which says, in a moment, I'll show you how you can access everything. But first, you might be wondering why I'd go through all this work. Why not just keep this information to myself and make a fortune? To answer that, let me tell you a very personal story that explains everything. How my bank account balance went from $15 from 15 million to just $143. So, as I said, James Altucher is the guy who is not afraid to be vulnerable, to showcase his vulnerability, and he does this really well here. He shares at this point, Evaldo Albuquerque shares a story about James Altucher, how he lost it all. And in his podcasts, James Altucher always talks about how he made a bunch of money and lost it all. Then he regained it and then he lost it again. So all this thing, it just builds relatability to him, okay? And it gives rapport to the guy. So we have a little mini hero's journey story and redemption story. And then, this is there so that people don't really start feeling like, yeah, James, it can work for you, but you're this genius millionaire. Like, I'm just an average person. Like, it would never work for me. Oh, yeah? Well, remember that time when I lost all my money and I had to restart everything? So that also gives, more potential to people. So then we pin the dream a little bit. We have a soft call to action that says you can get started today with this free cryptocurrency package. Here's how to claim it. So we have some brief overview of the main product. This is the first time we get a look at the Altucher Investment Network, which is the paid newsletter that basically the promo is selling. We get a USP, so unique selling proposition, after introducing the product itself. And what happens after this, right? This is a claim, basically. We have proof. So we have a lot of social proof, a lot of testimonials on why this is so cool. Plus, we have a price anchor as well by saying, that, this package could easily sell for $199 on Amazon. And even then, it would be a bargain. And I'm going to reveal the price soon, but not yet. Opening another loop. But first, check out what else you get. And this is very important. Before revealing a price, just give them more bonuses, okay? Just give them more bonuses because that what works. And then we have bonus report number 1. Some brief overview and then some greed copy like, hey, this will help you make a bunch of money. And then this report is yours free when you take a risk-free trial of the Altucher Investment Network. Then, bonus report number 2, make 1,000% from the 7 biggest money-making trends in America. Again, overview, it's free. Special bonus number 3, my book to choose yourself guide to wealth. So you'll even get a book which normally is $22 on Amazon. And it includes a bunch of fascinations. So I'm sure that Evaldo just took these fascinations, at least the essence of it, from, I don't know, the sales page of the book itself. And then we get a little value stack of, hey, here's everything you get. You get one of my books, which is in itself a value of $1.99. You get 12 issues of the Altucher Investment Network. You get bonus gift 1, 2, 3. And you get like special members only email updates. You get support team. You get all this stuff, right? And then we even have like a visual value stack, like a nice mock-up. And then we quantify everything by saying that that's a total value of $4.39. But since you're here, you don't have to pay that at all. And I love how, we get an irresistible offer here by saying that you get all these things ultimately for $49. But not just because I want to give it to you for free, but because there's a reason why behind the price drop. And the reason why is that I want to make this as easy and hassle-free as possible for you to try my work. So I asked my publisher to lower the price down to a level that could barely cover our publishing costs. And we agreed on an incredible deal. Instead of paying the full value, you'll only pay a tiny fraction, $49. And that means that for just 13 cents a day, you can have a full year subscription to the Altucher Investment Network. So, irresistible offer. Seriously, like you get all this, you can make all this upside, and your only downside is $49. And even then, you have like a risk nothing, keep everything guarantee. Which means that, even if you cancel, you still keep all the bonuses, the video masterclass, all the free phone, the free bonus gifts, everything, okay? So at this point, people have their maximum emotional arousal. You've built maximum desire in them. But at this place, you cannot really just leave them hanging. So this is the perfect place to introduce urgency and explain in the reason why there is urgency. It's not like, hey, I just set a deadline because I know that deadlines are important. But no, please let me know before January 31st, because that's the time where something is gonna happen, and then every cryptocurrency, most of them are going to explode, and our only way to make a fortune and to make all this big money is to actually get in while there's still time, because you've missed out so many times before. Do you still want to miss out now? Probably not. So do it now. And then we have some social proof to back this claim up as well. And then finally we have the call to action. Notice how it's not super aggressive at all. We just overwhelm people with value. We give them an urgency, we give them proof elements, and then we give them the call to action. Click the button below to get started on your path to retirement millionaire. So basically that's it. And then at the end we have some ordering instructions and how there's zero downside, but basically unlimited upside. So yeah, it's pretty powerful. It's a very powerful offer. Like, why wouldn't you want to invest in this, right? If you're in the target audience. And then we have the sign off, and at the end we have another call to action button. We also have this little objection handling element here that says you can review your order before it's final, because some people might be afraid to click this because like, oh, what if I immediately get charged or something? Remember, most of the target audience here, they're older, they're more skeptical, they're maybe more paranoid a little bit, so it's very important. And look, it's been written in 2017. So we also have a PS, which is basically just a high-level recap of all the upside that people are getting, plus the offer, plus the call to action. So it's like the essence of the whole thing, okay? It says, remember, many of these cryptocurrencies are exploding, which is why historians will call this the biggest boom ever. And with the big announcement coming as early as January 31st, 2019, you'll want to hurry so you don't miss out. This is your only chance of turning $100 into a retirement fortune. If you miss out on this epic boom, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Click below to get started, ... And then the call to action. So yeah, another 1 hour long case study, but I hope you enjoyed it. I think I love this sales letter. Obviously, like almost every single sales letter that I've broken down on this channel is amazing, because otherwise I wouldn't wouldn't be taking a look at them. But this one especially, I love it, and it's no wonder why Evaldo Albuquerque is one of the highest paid copywriters alive today. And he's not even native English, so think about that. Like, good copy is all about being able to convey persuasive arguments and just move people to take action. That's it. And you don't have to be an English major for it or something. In fact, this is like written at the like fifth degree reading level. Okay, it's very important. It's all about being easy to understand, easy to implement, and just painting the dream for people. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this. If you did, then definitely consider subscribing to the channel and also like the video right now, because it helps out a ton. And also share this with others so that others can also see these breakdowns. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. I think it's my longest video yet, but kudos to you if you're still here. You have my respect, and see you in the next one.